renew. As a verb, it means to make like new, restore to freshness, vigor, or perfection.
In this special edition of Newswaves, we explore people and their projects looking to renew areas of life.
In local Malibu politics, with an election looming, there is a divided city council.
As faith has been called into question,
I've always had a heart to really love and care and create family for people.
the new pastor who's looking to revive a local church.
An incredible project through the canyon looks to give big cats and other local wildlife a new chance at life.
It's a hopeful project.
And here at Pepperdine, fresh new food options are coming, but will students find them appetizing?
On the basketball court, a losing season brings new motivation.
Going forward is going to be different.
The three young players vowing to turn things around.
And the class of 2022 looks toward new beginnings.
This is so different from where we were 3-4 years ago.
We are ready for renewal.
Good evening, I'm Austin Hall.
I'm Carl Winter.
And I'm Annabelle Childers.
Welcome to the special edition of Newswaves 32, live from the campus of Pepperdine University in Malibu. Let's get right to it. Malibu is a city known for being on the forefront of change and city decisions that garner a lot of attention. But lately, people leading the city have been getting the attention instead. Newswaves reporter Miles Campbell joins us with a look at what's been happening, followed by insight from two city council members who are here live to answer the questions. Miles?
Hi everyone. Malibu City leadership is in a state of contention, and Malibu locals are frustrated with the lack of productivity within the council. Let's take a look.
The future of Malibu City Council is at a crossroads. The council's inability to put personal politics aside has hindered their progress in tackling important agenda items, leaving citizens disappointed in the condition of the city government leadership.
I'm as sorry as anyone to see this city in its state of contention and dysfunction.
Frustration with the city council began after the Woolsey fire, when Malibu locals started a petition to remove city manager Reva Feldman for failing to follow the city's emergency operations plan. Split support for Feldman resulted in conflict among council members. There were also accusations between Feldman and Mayor Pro Tem Bruce Silverstein. The Feldman controversy seemed to create a permanent divide within the council that escalated when Mayor Pro Tem Silverstein was not elected as mayor.
Electing someone that's obviously so controversial, the way to do that, that's my only point. I want Bruce to be mayor. I don't see that the city is ready, and certainly not from what I heard this weekend.
Please serve.
After Paul Grisanti retained his position as mayor, disagreement and division even led Councilmember Pearson to propose bringing an outside mitigator to assist the council in putting their differences aside. Members of the public instead want the focus on them. That agenda item was quickly shot down. Councilmember Steve Ehring urged the council to exhibit responsible leadership by putting their duties to the city of Malibu first.
I think our job is to demonstrate to the community that we can work together, that we're adults, that we're going to do the things that we have to do to move the city forward.
As the city prepares for the November election, there is possible renewed unity. 2 city council seats will be up for grabs. Of concern for Malibu remains preserving its small-town rural feel, but also allowing for development and growth.
Joining me now are council members Mikey Pearson and Karen Fair. They have both served the city of Malibu since November of 2018. Council members, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
My first question for both of you is, do the citizens of Malibu have reason to be concerned with the state of Malibu city politics?
I think they do.
Absolutely. Our city council is completely dysfunctional right now. It's embarrassing, it's unproductive, and employees are fleeing for other cities as fast as they can.
And what have been some of those main reasons that have led to the dysfunction of the city government, would you say?
There are things that go on outside of city council meetings that have an impact, of course, on what we do. Things like council members trolling us on social media, campaigns against us on various social media platforms, professional trolls that have been recruited to call into our meetings and disrupt them. It's been very interesting and very unproductive.
And it really all started with the incredibly aggressive way our city manager was forced out, and it's pretty much just cascaded down since then.
Bruce Silverstein has seemed to create a lot of controversy within the council. Can you guys unpack your decision to not vote to elect him as mayor of Malibu?
Well, it's not required. It's a vote of the council, and anything that gets 3 votes will pass. Typically, that's a unanimous vote. It's not contentious. It's not a subject of a lot of debate. Yeah. But our council did not, I would say, did not have confidence in electing him mayor.
I think the way I looked at it at the time is, what would it look like if the LA Times wrote about who we had made mayor and the actions of that person up to that time? You know, I want to see Bruce be a good mayor, and you know, that would be great, but I just hadn't seen the actions to support it at that time.
And moving forward, you know, Councilmember Pearson, I know you had proposed the idea of bringing a mitigator onto council. Do you have any plans or solutions to try to create a little bit more of a cohesion amongst the members?
That's a great question. Yeah, I thought that motion, you know, for them to turn it down, to me, was politically motivated. Everyone knows that bringing in people to help organizations function better is a smart idea. Never heard otherwise. Yeah, there are things that we're working on, but honestly, now it's not quite the time to talk about them.
And that's not uncommon for other cities, to bring in a mediator and try to make the city more productive.
We're talking about the negatives of the council, but is there anything that you were excited about as a council moving forward with the city of Malibu that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. School district separation, Malibu independence from the Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District. Tomorrow morning, Councilmember Pearson and myself have a library subcommittee meeting. We have a great relationship with the LA County Library System. I don't know, what else?
I think too, even in this environment, Karen and I together mostly have managed to get a lot of important things done. The pesticide ban was huge, and that's something that's going to move from city to city up the coast, and we're really proud of that. So in a very difficult environment, we have managed to get some pretty important things done.
Council members, my final question to you both is, are you planning on seeking re-election to Malibu City Council, if you're allowed to answer?
Still thinking about it.
Yeah, what month is it now? You know, it's early still, and plus, you know, I wouldn't actually want to reveal that in public anyhow, because there is political strategy involved, and love you guys as we do. I'm going to hold some cards on that one.
Completely understood. Council members, thank you both so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you coming to our show. Carl, sending it back to you.
Thank you, Miles, Karen, and Mikey. Wildlife in our area will soon get new opportunity to explore and expand. Groundbreaking is set to happen on the world's largest wildlife bridge over the 101 freeway, right here in our backyard. Mountain lions in the Santa Monica Mountains face a tough reality.
They have to deal with roads and you know, urbanization and development and you name it.
When the National Wildlife Federation's Beth Pratt pitched the idea of a wildlife crossing over the 101 freeway to extend the cougar's habitat, she knew it was bold.
When I came to them in 2012, we're like, you got to be out of your mind. Nobody, this is a heavy lift. Nobody's done it in an urban area. It's mountain lions. They're scary.
A decade later, the world's largest wildlife crossing is 3 days from breaking ground. The magnitude, 200 feet long by 175 feet wide, is only one challenge.
Slope and design and sound walls because of all the sound pollution from the freeway and light pollution. Like we're doing stuff that other crossings haven't had to contend with.
Anna Cholo of the National Park Service says building a crossing is backed by 25 years of studying big cats.
It's not often that you see research studies come to fruition in such a huge way.
The Wallace Annenberg Wildlife Crossing, named after one of its largest donors, will span 10 lanes of the 101 near Liberty Canyon, stretching between protected land on both sides. Caltrans project manager Sheikh Moinudin said he is working with wildlife agencies to ensure the bridge is enticing for lions to use.
Wildlife, you can't make them cross if they don't want to cross. So what happened is when we build this bridge, we wanted to make sure that it is conducive for their movement.
Moynudin said he was surprised by the level of collaboration.
Everybody has only one goal that gets this thing done. Okay, so it's an unbelievable cooperation among all the agencies.
The crossing has garnered rare widespread support, especially for a public works project with a price tag of $85 million.
These important politicians and the governor and local stakeholders and residents all coming together in support of this, it's just really neat.
For Pratt, the bridge represents hope for wildlife preservation in urban areas.
It's a hopeful project. I think that's the other thing is there's no bad guy in this project.
Other animals, including frogs, lizards, and songbirds, will also benefit from the bridge, but Pratt says the project aims to save the big cats in our area from extinction.
These mountain lions now are going to have a shot at a future.
The project, which was funded primarily by private donors, is scheduled to be complete in 2025. The groundbreaking takes place this Friday at 10 a.m., which also happens to be on Earth Day. The public can reserve a space online. And guys, it's interesting, one thing I learned in this story is that LA is actually one of only 2 big cities in the entire world that shares its space for big cats, with big cats. And here on campus as well, it's been kind of an interesting theme over our 4 years, sharing this campus with the mountain lions.
For sure. Before moving to California, I didn't realize what a big presence that the mountain lions had here. But basically, as soon as we moved onto campus, we were getting emails alerting us to mountain lions in very public spaces.
Yeah, no question. I think the best part is that these mountain lions not only are getting a wildlife bridge, but the fact that it's the biggest in the world shows just kind of what this county is able to accomplish at times.
Yeah, habitat fragmentation and the fires has been one of the biggest things that's been a challenge for them. So it's great that they will now get to extend beyond the Santa Monica Mountains.
Thanks, Carl. Moving on to the next story, after 4 decades, this coming fall, students at Pepperdine are promised a finer, fresher dining with a new food service provider.
Newswaves reporter Marley Penagos joins us now with a taste of what students might be getting. Marley, what do you have for us?
Hey guys, yes, all Pepperdine University campuses will have a new dining services partner, Bon Appetit. Bon Appetit currently serves over 1,000 locations, including nearby Whittier College. I visited Whittier to taste the food and get opinions on it from the students there. I also talked to our beloved CAF workers about the change. Bon Appetit. It means good appetite. But for Whittier College third-year student Angelica Escobar, who was a commuter, she says the food made by Bon Appetit is not appetizing, and she avoids eating on campus whenever she can.
The food here is very restricting, and it's not the best quality.
As a former vegetarian, Escobar said she always chooses a plant-based option, yet she has been served meat multiple times.
I've noticed, specifically in my experience, because I was vegetarian for a while, that they do sometimes give you meat by accident, and it happens a lot.
In addition to the service problems, Escobar also says there usually aren't enough food options. A Bon Appetit employee at Whittier said it is up to the university to choose what food will be served, and due to Whittier's small size and the impact of COVID-19, there are significantly fewer options available compared to the other universities they serve. As for Pepperdine, much is still unknown about the future of the university's dining. Students and CAF workers alike are unsure of what to expect come August. Sodexo employee Carlos Lucha has been working at Pepperdine for 8 months. He says he and his coworkers were surprised to find out about the switch to Bon Appetit through students.
Until one of the students told me that it's true that Sodexo's got a new company coming. I said, no, I don't know anything.
Students also reacted to the announcement of Pepperdine's new dining partner on social media platforms. Many were worried about what would happen to the Sodexo employees who have become favorites throughout their time at Pepperdine. A March 15th email Pepperdine Public Relations sent to the community states that Bon Appetit encourages the continued service of Sodexo employees and that they will have the opportunity to meet with Bon Appetit representatives to apply to continue to work at Pepperdine.
I was waiting for the new company to see if I can stay here.
Lucha says that Pepperdine has become like his second home, and he cannot imagine working anywhere else. He wants to remain at Pepperdine and work with Bon Appetit, but has not been informed on how that process will work. While the future of Pepperdine's food is uncertain, Lucha is hopeful that there will be familiar faces in the CAF alongside the new food next semester. Sodexo will continue through Pepperdine's summer sessions, then Bon Appetit takes over service on August 1st. So I was actually able to go to Whittier and try the food myself. I think maybe I caught them on an off day, but the food was really not that great. I'm hopeful that when Bon Appetit comes to Pepperdine, we will get more options than Whittier had.
That's disappointing to hear, Marley. What dish did you try over at Whittier?
So I tried like the warm dinner option that they were offering. On that day it was spaghetti, and it was honestly just kind of bland, a little boring, and it really wasn't that great. And the portion sizes were also really small.
I mean, yeah, we're 3 seniors that we're not gonna be eating Bon Appetit next year, next semester. But if I was an underclassman, I'd be a little bit nervous that this highly anticipated new food service provider might not necessarily be what it's cut out to be.
Yeah, and it's super sad because people have been complaining about the dining options for a lot of years, and I think a lot of people were excited about kind of a new change. But let's hope that the grass is actually greener on the other side. Thank you so much, Marley. And while Pepperdine students will come back to some new food next year, seniors like myself will be entering new phases of our lives. Next, we reflect and look to new beginnings for the class of 2022. Plus, there is new leadership at a popular local church.
I'm Abby Wilt. How the new change is helping community members find a home while staying grounded in their faith. All that and more after this break.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Adopting a new pet is a rewarding experience. And shelter pets make super pets. Your new best friend will steal your heart, bring you happiness, and enrich your life for years to come. You can make a difference in the life of an animal. Adopt and bring home a shelter pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
What are you, superheroes?
Just 4 brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
Barry, time is running out. According to my calculations, 1 in 5 kids in America struggles with hunger. How can so many children face hunger when there's more than enough food to feed them all? You're right, Barry. We can help solve hunger by teaming up with Feeding America to get food to hungry kids in communities across the country.
Help Flint and the Feeding America network of food banks get food to the people who need it in your community. Find your local Feeding America food bank at feedingamerica.org/hunger.
Together, we're Feeding America.
Welcome back to this special edition of Newswaves. Vintage Malibu has a new pastor.
Newswaves 32 reporter Abby Wilt is live at Pepperdine Stauffer Chapel to introduce you to the man who is now heading the church. Abby?
Thanks, Carl. Vintage Church is beginning a new season here in Malibu while building community and creating a church family that feels like home. After a season of hardship and loss, one's faith might be something they pull away from. But for others, it's what keeps them grounded.
I actually gave my life to Jesus basically after the pandemic.
A person leading Franzen on his faith journey is Chris Bennett. Bennett is also starting new. He moved to California from Oklahoma 4 years ago, but this month he took on a new role as head pastor of Vintage Malibu, with a focus on serving others and serving Jesus while creating a community at Vintage.
I've always had a heart to really love and care and create family for people. It's one of the main reasons we came out to LA.
Vintage welcomes people of all ages every Sunday, but also provides opportunities for community throughout the week.
All the members coming together and combining and using each person's talents and gifts. And they do a really good job at making the space for that to be able to happen.
Being right down the street from Pepperdine, Bennett says he is striving to make Vintage a place where college students can grow in their faith no matter what stage of life they are in.
People come in and they come out, but we want to serve this city really well and to be a blessing to it.
First-year Pepperdine student Tashi Franzen is making connections, attending Vintage and volunteering with the kids' Sunday school program.
Vintage is actually probably the best church community that I've ever been in.
And he's reconnecting with Bennett. Franzen met Bennett when he was 4 years old in Oklahoma.
So we go way back.
Now he is welcoming him to his new home in Malibu. As Bennett is starting a new season in his ministry, he wants Vintage to be a place where people can find or renew their faith and trust.
And really just trying to create a space for people to get to know each other and feel like it's really safe and they can bring who they are, where they are, and they're going to be loved right where they are.
Here we have with us Chris Bennett from Vintage Malibu. Chris, thank you so much for being here with us today. So I know you're new in this role. You just preached your first sermon here at Vintage about 3 weeks ago. So far, what do you see as the biggest opportunity for your church here?
First of all, Malibu is amazing, and what I love is there's already so many incredible churches here. I think what we're most excited about is just partnering with other believers, other churches in the community. And really our desire is to provide a sense of family for people that feel isolated, disconnected, maybe don't feel like they have a group where they belong, and to really help people experience that in a really hopefully powerful way.
I love that. And then speaking of kind of building family, how are you doing that with the Pepperdine community, and how are you specifically targeting your ministry to Pepperdine students?
Yeah, I mean, Sunday mornings is one way to come together, and we have a lot of kids that show up. I said kids because I'm old now, I'm like 43. But yeah, a lot of college kids come on Sunday morning, but we really believe in creating small group communities. So we have a small group called Life Groups that meets on Tuesday nights, and 60, 70 college kids crammed into a living room, usually because there's pizza, that'll get them there. No, but I think that's what we really hope is that they can find people that are like-minded, like-hearted to do life with.
That's awesome. And then speaking a little more broadly, what is the biggest challenge that you think is facing pastors and churches in America today?
Yeah, I mean, my family and I moved here 4 years ago and haven't been pastoring for the last few years. And I've talked to a lot of pastors that pastored through a pandemic, and I know there were a lot of challenges. I think coming out of it, and people are finally starting to come out and show up, I think it's easy to feel disconnected and isolated. I think a lot of people, just because churches were closed down, didn't get to experience that, consistent coming together. So I think what we're trying to do is just invite people into not just showing up at church and religion, but into a sense of community and family, and creating, I hate to say habits, but healthy patterns in their life, because ultimately we just don't do life very well alone. We weren't made for it. We don't really thrive in that way. So how do we help people, come back together, do life together?
Perfect. And then, coming out of the pandemic, how do you think is like one step that people can take to renew or reconnect with their faith?
I mean, I think the beautiful thing about having a relationship with Jesus is it's not about getting cleaned up and getting all these things together. I think it's opening our heart up to Him. And so I would just say wherever anybody is, open the heart up to Him, turn to Him, and God will meet us right where we are.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it. And Annabelle, I know you reported on a shortage of pastors in the area a few weeks ago. So what do you think about that now that we have Chris?
No, it's definitely very exciting. I did some reporting and referenced this survey that talked about a lot of pastors stepping down because of the COVID stresses and different things throughout the past 2 years. So it's exciting to see kind of the opposite effect happening. Thank you so much, Abby. And the class of 2022 has had a unique college experience, to say the least. I spoke with 3 Pepperdine seniors about their memories of the trials and triumphs of the past 4 years, as well as their hopes for the future.
This year's senior class has had anything but a normal college experience. Since their first semester, Pepperdine seniors like Alicia Yu have navigated life through a great deal of challenges.
One day you wake up and realize, wow, this is so different from where we were 3-4 years ago.
In November 2018, just 3 months into their first year at Pepperdine, many members of the class of 2022 were faced with tragedy. A shooting at the Borderline Bar and Grill college night, followed by a wildfire burning through Malibu only days later. Yu was at Borderline and lost her suite mate, Elena Housley, in the shooting. Senior Josh Liao, one of Housley's classmates, says he has memories from Pepperdine that will never leave him.
Something like that, it changes your outlook forever.
But despite the struggles, members of the class of 2022 say their experiences over these past years have shaped them and their futures. Christian Parham began dreaming of a career in law during her freshman year, and this year she took the LSAT and applied to law schools.
And ultimately, my goal was to go to Pepperdine Law.
This fall, Parham's dream will become a reality. While Parham is staying at Pepperdine, she said the ending of her time at Seaver is bittersweet.
I feel like I'm trying to look at it as less of a goodbye, but rather just like a see you later.
And while Parham won't be leaving Malibu, Liao will travel the world this summer and then return home to Memphis. There, Liao says he'll pursue his vocation.
I know my calling is to work in medicine.
Liao will attend the University of Tennessee Health Science Center this fall, a transition he says he is both excited and anxious for.
I guess I'll be prepared for medical school. I don't really think I'll be prepared for it to begin, and I think it'll just kind of hit me.
Yu says she struggled to find her footing emotionally and academically after the Borderline shooting.
And of course, I'd been through hardships before, but nothing to this degree.
After losing focus in school and temporarily failing to meet the GPA requirements for her Regent scholarship, Yu says she fell into an identity crisis. But through those challenges, she says she has come out stronger. Yu hopes to plant more roots in Malibu after graduation and is currently applying for jobs in the LA area.
While it was such a painful process to get here, it also did yield beautiful results.
As the three seniors head in different directions, they remain bonded by the shared experiences of their 4 years together at Pepperdine.
And we're very lucky to have two of those seniors that you just saw with us, Josh Liao and Alicia Yu. So I just want to ask you guys, I know that coming into your freshman year at Pepperdine, you experienced a lot of things that you probably never would have expected. So will you guys just walk me through what it was like as a freshman to experience those things?
Yeah, I can go ahead. I think the first thing was, as you first come to college, and you're still talking to your friends from home a little bit, I very quickly realized that my college experience was pretty unique and different than a lot of my peers from back home. I knew that, one, being in Malibu is a big change of scenery, but two, the obstacles that we faced that first semester, freshman year, really changed the way that our class bonded together as a whole. And I think that's one of the best parts about my college experience is the bonds that I hold with my fellow class of 2022.
Yeah, I think building off of that, I felt a lot of gratitude throughout the entire time for this community. Like my friends that I made here, I'm so grateful that I'm still really close with a lot of the people that I met really early on within the first few weeks, or even the people that I met beforehand, that I met online before I came to Pepperdine. And I think that that is really something that has gotten me through the last few years.
Good. And I talked a little bit in the package about this identity crisis that you had surrounding academics, and we talked a little bit about this, about how you were diagnosed with ADHD last year in February, and how that was actually a good moment of clarity for you. So will you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think coming into Pepperdine, I really tied a lot of my identity into my academics and my achievements, and I'm sure that that's something that a lot of Pepperdine students can relate to. And after facing these tragedies really early on into my freshman year, I noticed a lot of changes in my life, especially academically, which was not something that I was expecting. And so for a while, I had a lot of questions. I wasn't sure what was going on, and eventually I was directed to a neuropsychologist who diagnosed me with ADHD, and that cleared up a lot of things. And basically what was happening was that I, throughout childhood, was really good at masking and making up for these margins where I was falling short. And after facing these traumas, my brain just didn't have the energy and capacity to do that anymore. And so I think throughout my time at Pepperdine and through this diagnosis, I've really gotten to unpack who I really am at the core and separate myself from my achievements. And I think that's really going to set me up well going forwards as we leave this academic sphere.
Yeah, so that's a really cool takeaway that you were able to process over these 4 years. Josh, I'm wondering if you have any takeaways through your Pepperdine experience that you're carrying into med school as you go this fall.
Yeah, definitely. The first thing that comes to mind, just in reflecting, obviously applying to medical school and everything that comes after is a tall task. And I had to put in a lot of effort and a lot of work to get there. One thing that stuck out to me when I was reflecting on the path that I took was how important it was, or how important the community around me was my friends. Some of them you guys have seen on air already, Austin and Miles. Those are two of my closest friends, and I know without the moral support that they've been for me the last few years, and just the encouragement and making sure that I don't lose my brain studying, making sure that I go out with them and have a good time. You know, college is the time that you have a lot of fun, and you know, I wouldn't be where I am, I wouldn't have the work ethic and the motivation that I do without my friends. And so going into medical school, I know I'll be looking for similar community. Although I know the community that I have here is going to be hard to top, I will try my best to keep emulating what I've experienced.
Awesome. And you guys have lived through so many experiences and have a lot of wisdom, so I'm wondering if you guys could give any words of advice to the students who still have a little bit more time here at Pepperdine.
Yeah, I think something that I even want to tell my own younger self, even if it's whether it's freshman year or just last semester, I think to really not just to focus on what has been lost, but also to hold gratitude and hold space to cherish the things that we've gained. I think obviously it is we should welcome all emotions that come about any experience you go through, but I think that it's really important to look around and remember what you're grateful for in life, and to really spend time with the people that you love and that love you.
Yeah, I'd say my piece of advice would be to be confident in who you are. Obviously at Pepperdine there's a lot of great opportunities, and it's up to you to bat for the challenge and step up to bat. And I think just with a little added confidence in who you are, the abilities that you have, your story, your experiences, and what you bring to the table will allow you to succeed. And you know, lean into the community around you. I got done telling my buddies just a few nights ago, the way I see it, the stars aligned for us to have these 4 years together and become such close friends. They've made me more confident in who I am as a person, and that's something that I'm forever grateful for.
Well, thank you guys both so much. And those seniors are on to great things, and they are not the only ones. Coming up, from starting a dream business to studying a dynamic sport, we hear from Pepperdine students who have some impressive summer plans. And 3 freshmen come out on top after a rough season for Pepperdine men's basketball, how they plan to redeem themselves and find success in the WCC.
Barry, time is running out. According to my calculations, 1 in 5 kids in America struggles with hunger. How can so many children face hunger when there's more than enough food to feed them all? You're right, Barry. We can help solve hunger by teaming up with Feeding America to get food to hungry kids in communities across the country.
Help Flint and the Feeding America network of food banks get food to the people who need it in your community. Find your local Feeding America food bank at feedingamerica.org/hunger.
Together, we're Feeding America.
Say with me, imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite. Unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time. One book can be the funniest coming. Helps to change a life. People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Got a quarter?
Welcome back.
One of Pepperdine's most exciting sports teams had a down year, but could they be poised for a renewal of their own?
It certainly looks that way. I sat down with 3 rising stars on the team to talk about the ups and downs of their freshman campaign and what to expect from them next season.
Pepperdine men's basketball is ready for a restart. After winning the CBI tournament, then losing their top 2 players to the pros in 2021, they took a step back this season, going 1-15 in conference and 7-25 overall.
I think that as a team-wise, we didn't really have a culture established.
They struggled with injuries and inexperience, issues that often plagued the team late in games.
We didn't respond to adversity. We were in a lot of games that we should have won, but we didn't have that little thing. We didn't have that extra little push of like, we can get through this, we know how to work through it. And so I think when adversity hit, we crumbled.
Pepperdine brought in their highest-ranked recruiting class in team history, yet a lack of team chemistry led to the lowest win total in Coach Lorenzo Romar's 4-year tenure.
Yeah, we obviously didn't meet our expectations. We thought we were going to win a lot more games. Just some stuff didn't happen that we thought would happen.
Despite the season's shortcomings, 3 Pepperdine first-years made the WCC all-freshman team. It's only the second time in the history of the conference that one school has produced 3 of the 5 total players. The freshmen believe that they're the ones who will rise Pepperdine to the top of the WCC.
We're going to be really exciting. I think we're going to be a fun team to watch. We have a lot of good athletes, and we compete. I think that's the number one thing.
I know this may sound crazy, but I promise myself, coaching staff, everyone out there, that next year and going forward is going to be different.
Rihanna is now live with Houston Millett, Mike Mitchell Jr., and Maxwell Lewis to hear more from them. Rihanna?
Thanks, Austin. I'm joined now with the 3 WCC all-freshman team players. Houston, I want to start with you. You led the team in scoring and set the Pepperdine all-time freshman record for three-pointers. How are you able to perform at such a high level, and what would you have done differently?
So first I'd like to thank God and then also my teammates and family for allowing me to be in this position that I was in this year with being able to play as a freshman and have a lot of fun there. I think, you work really hard in the gym a lot before workout or before practice, after lift. It's pretty much just about being in the gym. So I think that's really got me prepared. And then just talking with coaches. Watching hours of film, just really preparing mentally, physically, all those different types of things to just go out there and compete. But I'm blessed, and I can't wait for next year to have a bigger role and then just to win more games.
Well said. And Max, your season was unfortunately cut short due to a wrist injury, but while you were healthy, you were a big impact to the team. What can you tell me is your role on the team now, and what can we expect from you next season?
I think for Coach Romar, for me, is to just really be a leader and come in and show example to the guys that's coming in next year and just give them the pointers that I struggled when I came and stuff like that. And I just think just being solid personally, my goal is to be a better defender, and just win more games. I want to win more games, and I think us 3, we want to make it to the tournament next year. So I think that's a big goal of ours for sure.
All right, statement made. And Mike, you were the only wave to start every game. As a freshman, that's impressive, but what's even more impressive is your passing ability. You were ranked number 2 in the WCC in assists. So as a point guard and leader of the team, what specific changes need to be made in order to be more victorious next season?
Practicing hard every day, and I think as a team we made the decision to lock in on defense this upcoming year, and I feel like if we lock in on defense and rebounding and trust each other, we'll see results that we want.
All right. Well, best of luck to you guys. I'm excited for the future of the program, and back to you guys on set.
Thank you, Rihanna.
Austin, I'm excited to see these 3 guys coming back. I was a little nervous we might see them in the transfer portal, but not only are they coming back as sophomores, we also have a very exciting recruit coming in Javon Porter, who's 6'10". He's the younger brother of NBA star Michael Porter Jr. So I tend to believe them when they say that it's going to be more wins next year.
No question about it. When you get the brother of an NBA All-Star, it's definitely going to fill a lot more seats. That, along with the fact that the WCC, some of the top teams are graduating a ton of players, a ton of their stars. So we're going to go from being one of the least experienced teams in the WCC to being honestly, a team with multiple starters that are coming back, guys that have played a lot. So I think that record's going to look a lot different next year.
Okay, the people in this next story make us look really boring. Carolyn is here now with some exciting news about some students and their cool summer plans.
Thanks, Annabelle. From creating homemade surfboards to creating new memories.
After a long, hard year, Pepperdine students are looking to rejuvenate their minds and spirits as they make the most out of summer. For many, summer is all about catching waves and cutting loose. So sophomore business major Zach Mossing is making a business out of it.
This summer, I'm pretty much making and selling surfboards. Even if I don't make money, it's going to be fun.
Over winter break, a mission to save money led Mossing to begin engineering his own foil boards, which are known to increase surfing speed and retail at thousands of dollars.
We were just like, hey, this doesn't seem that hard. Let's just make it ourselves.
After learning the basics of foil design, Mossing made a prototype for just $300 and realized he could make his new hobby into a business. This summer, Mossing plans to build foils and surfboards out of carbon fiber using a 3D surfboard design software.
Honestly, just having an opportunity to make money doing something that involves something that I'm really passionate about is like mind-blowing to me.
Senior math major Tim Zietvogel is conducting research on how math can be used to predict the results of tennis matches.
The gist of this is to understand the in-match dynamics of as well as how can we capture pressure and stress in tennis.
Zietvogel is a Pepperdine tennis player himself and is bringing his passion for math and tennis together for this project.
I found this combination in this research where I can do what I love in the classroom with math, but also apply to the tennis court.
Zietvogel and his professor, Timothy Lucas, started the project in 2020, but says they will wrap up this summer. Another Pepperdine student will also spend their summer studying, but from the other side of the globe.
I'm going to Florence in Italy.
This summer, sophomore psychology major Victoria Laferla plans to study abroad in Italy, a place she holds close to her heart.
I picked it because my mom's side of the family is all from Italy and I've just grown up going there.
A summer of exploration, rich culture, and good food is what Laferla says she is looking forward to most.
It's actually like a big season right now for their meat, and I'm also big on ragu, so ragu pasta every day.
So clearly we have some adventurous and innovative students here at Pepperdine. Do any of you guys have any fun plans for the summer, maybe inspired by some of the projects we watched?
I mean, after seeing that, I might need to hit up Tim on the tennis team. I mean, the fact that he's got an algorithm that could, possibly predict some tennis matches with NCAA regionals coming up, I might need to hit him up, see if he's got any locks.
Yeah, Austin, I had no idea you could even bet on tennis, but if there's anyone I'd trust to figure it out, it would be you alongside Tim.
Thank you.
And I'm just excited that Pepperdine students are getting to go back to summer programs. It's been 2 summers without them, so it's really exciting.
Well, guys, it's been a ride. We'd like to thank our guests that joined us today and you for joining us for this special edition of Newswaves.
Newswaves will return next fall, but for the 3 of us, we are on to the next.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Adopting a new pet is a rewarding experience. And Shelter Pets make super pets. Your new best friend will steal your heart, bring you happiness, and enrich your life for years to come. You can make a difference in the life of an animal. Adopt and bring home a shelter pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.